So, where do we start, guys? Where do we start? Um, I'm going to start with last week. And the reason I'm starting with last week is last week made me realize some things. After I did something pretty simple, really straightforward. So last week, I made a decision to ask someone I no longer associate with to remove some content of mine that all featured my VTuber model. So it was basically like really straightforward IP takedown request, you know. Um, and so I made this request because of serious allegations of sexual harassment involving this person that I'm no longer friends with. And for me, that made me like when I heard about this stuff, I realized that like I don't want to be associated with this person, even through proxy, via proxy. Like I don't even want that. So I sent them a really professional. It was like also I found a template of like IP withdrawal or like permission withdrawal request. It was really professional, really straightforward. Sent it straight over, no digs, no insults, no pettiness. It was just about, hey, like I did this to protect my name, my image, and sort of like the brand I've worked so hard to rebuild. That term's important, rebuild. So when I sent that removal request, I'm reading things. I kept it professional, so no drama, no digs, just a clear, respectful boundary. But their response to me kind of told me everything I needed to know. Kind of said a lot more than, or a lot less than what I was hoping. Nothing had changed. So with this person, nothing had changed. Instead of respecting the boundary, they acted like I had attacked them. Like asking them for my own content to be removed was like betrayal. And so during the time that we hadn't spoken, they didn't reflect, they didn't apologize, they just literally fell into the same old pattern of playing victim, shifting blame, and act like they were the one being wronged for something as simple as being held accountable, which is like, you know, removing my IP from their platform. So it basically that behavior, it just all felt way too familiar, way too familiar. And that's when it all sort of just like started to come back. The gaslighting, the cruelty, the emotional manipulation. It kind of felt like deja vu because it was like it just literally a deja vu. It made me realize that like, hey, nothing's changed. They're the same person, the same tactics, just maybe slightly better disguised. But the thing is, I was able to see through that. They even tried to like gaslight me again, and claiming that I had said I had BPD. Now this is the person that had been going around saying I had BPD, and they had and I had challenged them on that, and they said no. But I had proof that they were lying because someone had told me. Someone had told me that, and they'd sent me. They had sent me screenshots of what was said, and this person, I'm not going to name them because they did the right thing. They did the right thing. Proof they'd admitted to others that they had assumed I'd had it. So they tried to gaslight me into thinking that I had told them this, that I had told them that I have BPD, when in fact that wasn't even remotely true. Hold on, sorry. So yeah, and I have proof that they admitted it to others. Not that I ever said it. They essentially rewrote reality to protect their image, and they had no issue erasing mine to do it. So hopefully, I'm sorry guys that this is like very intense. The thing is, this wasn't actually the first time they'd done this. The first time was during like one of my worst mental health crises of my life. I was in psychosis, so I was like hallucinating, I was dissociated, I was terrified, I was like completely detached from reality. I genuinely believed that people were like plotting against me. So like and this was all brought on by my landlord, who was threatening me with visits, turning up at my house unannounced, ignoring how safe I felt. My landlord was also gaslighting me about my rent. And this was happening because the money that I was paying them was going out of my bank account, right? It was going out of my bank account, and it was going out of my disability benefits and into theirs. And I kept seeing my account balance go down every month, but the amount of money I owed my landlord just kept going up and up and up. And they refused to believe me. They refused to accept, they refused to accept my answers, my truth, my evidence. And that led to basically a complete destabilization of my psyche and my grip on reality. I was just unraveling. And in that chaos, I kind of became obsessed with disappearing. This was months ago. This happened this was last year, last May. It was actually last May, so about just over a month ago. I became obsessed with disappearing, and I wanted to erase myself, delete everything, end Choco, and end me. And that wasn't drama. That was a psychological emergency. But the person I'm talking about, they didn't see it that way, and they didn't want to. Instead of helping me, this person minimized me. They called me childish. Made me feel like I was a burden. I thought I had one safe person left, and I clung to that. But when I removed people from a server, so this was some bad behavior that I engaged in because of a result of my psychosis, and I can admit to that. I did something wrong here, and I regret that. I regret that decision I made. But it was done in a point of weakness. But yeah, I removed people from a server because I was scared. I was basically in full crisis mode. But instead of supporting me, they turned on me. And yeah, I regret that now. I regret that. And yeah, I regret how I handled it, but I was in survivor mode. I was begging for hope in the only way I could. They didn't, and the thing is, the worst parts of that is they didn't ask what was wrong. They didn't ask what was wrong. They just made it about them. They made what I was going through about them. They told me I gave them an ultimatum, something I never said. I never gave anyone an ultimatum. They framed my panic as control, my breakdown as manipulation, and I actually believed them because my grip on reality was gone. But you could have told me anything at that point, and I would have believed it. But when someone you trust tells you you're the problem, when you're already breaking and you fold, when you're already breaking, you fold. You do. You give up because you don't have any stable sense of reality. And if there's someone that you trust telling you that, hey, this is how things are, you're just like, okay, maybe that is true. Maybe that's the case. You just accept it. So I did. I cut off. I shut down because even my last safe connection was gone. Months later, they came back. They said it was their fault. They said we're sorry. I don't think I've got into the whole story of like what happened. I was like gaslit. There was a lot of aggression, a lot of abuse, and they just didn't listen to me. But I hope you guys are getting the general gist of it. And yeah, they said they were sorry, and they said they wanted to rebuild. And I believe them. This happened a few months later. It happened in March, and they came back around in September. Sorry, one sec. And I believe them because I missed who I thought they were. They saw the community I kept alive and the one they abandoned and wanted to access it. And they wanted to access it again. I believe now with the clarity that I have, I don't think it was about me. It was about what I built. And then came the final straw. I made a simple, fair moderation decision, and they publicly undermined it. Undermined it. I told them privately it hurt. They said the rule and they told me that the rule I enforced never existed. And just like last time, I believed them again. Until I was invited back until I rejoined the server and I saw the rule. The rule was right there. It was literally right there. The rule that they had told me I made up and that didn't exist. It was right there. And I realized that I wasn't unstable. I wasn't the unstable one. I wasn't imagining things. They gaslit me again and again. Sorry. Yeah. And that's when it all clicked. Even after I walked away, they tried to control the story. They told people I had BPD, that I was unstable, that I might delete my whole platform just because someone upset me, because occasionally I get into a mood. They essentially framed months and weeks and months of psychological breakdown and psychosis as me being in a mood. They took my worst mental health crisis that nearly destroyed me and turned it into gossip. And people believe them. That's the kind of like the hurtful part, most hurtful part. It's not just that like I had a person who trusted me betray me, that other people who I thought were my friends believed them. And I think they did this is because they're good at playing the victim. They're good at playing they're good at playing the victim. So that's my experience. That's the gist of my experience. But this is where I want to talk about the allegations from a close, personal, and trusted friend. I'm not talking about this because it's just some random person that I can use, that, you know, someone might say, oh, are you just using them to get back at them? But this is someone I trust, someone I care about deeply. And when I found out the truth, when I found out the truth about them, I couldn't stay silent at all anymore. Because staying silent made me feel like I'd be complicit in that. So someone younger, more vulnerable came forward. They told me about the pressure, the coercion, the guilt tripping, and how this person sent unsolicited sexual images, how they begged and clung, how they claimed everything was fine with their partner to override consent. They were scared and 20, only 20. They just turned 20. And when I heard that, I realized something I didn't want to admit. They did the same thing to me. Not in the same way, not sexually, but psychologically. They used my trauma, my fear of gaslighting, and my need for safety to control me. Every disagreement became a war of attrition, and they escalated until I folded. And they did the same thing for my friend. They did the same thing to my friend. My friend was afraid of that same escalation, that same anger that they used to control and manipulate. And not just the anger, but the guilt tripping, the emotional mind games. Yeah, that wasn't love, that wasn't fear, that was coercion. And here's what I haven't said clearly before, not even to myself. What happened didn't just harm me emotionally, it was a calculated attempt to take everything I built. This is what I think, this is what I'm feeling. Like, this is, based on my experience, this is what I feel. My community, my image, my platform. They didn't just want to be part of it, they wanted to claim it. And then when I wouldn't hand it over, they painted me as unstable, as dramatic, as dangerous. It wasn't about holding a grudge. It was about erasing a person they couldn't control. So, and here's sort of like the last part. I'm not naming them, and I don't need to. People who are there and people who know who I'm talking about, they know, and now you know. And if you weren't, I hope you never. And if you weren't there, I hope you never experienced what I and my friend did. But I won't be silent anymore because this is my truth. I was harmed. I was gaslit, just as my friends was. And I was nearly broken by someone who refused to face what they'd done. But I'm still here. Still Choco. Still the blue butterfly. And I'm not ashamed of that anymore. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't gone into a lot of detail about the situation that I went through with them. But this is, and I haven't gone into too much detail about what happened with my friend because I didn't want to share too much. And I didn't want to sensationalize like trauma porn. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted to make this about how I had realized what had happened, and that I wasn't alone in this experience. Yeah, I wasn't alone in this experience, and someone else had observed this same pattern of behavior, and made me realize that it wasn't just me, and I wasn't the crazy one. Like they've spent so long trying to, they spent so long trying to paint me as, you know? So, yeah. I got about pointing to knees in Minecraft. Yeah. Thank you, Jay, and thank you, Kirby. Appreciate you guys. I'm sorry if I like just killed the whole vibe and everything. I do apologize. It's just it was important. Much love. You're absolutely an absolutely lovely person, Choco, and you deserve so much better. Forever proud of you and for your growth and who you are. Thanks, Cyber. I appreciate you a lot. It's good to have friends. It's good to have friends. See, the thing is, like, I'm trying to rebuild what was lost, and because in this fallout, there was like a lot of, in the fallout of what happened, there was a lot of yeah, there were a lot of people just sort of left, you know. What is going on here? Oh, I see. Omega the Tree. Hi, Lucky here. I'm glad you're doing better. Thank you. That actually means a lot. Thanks. Like you for a first time chat. Damn. Like come straight in. I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, I'm not naming this person because I don't think I'm at that point yet. I don't think I'm at that point. But I don't think it would be right to name them either. Wait, what is this? What am I doing? Is this even the right thing? Maybe I will one day. We'll see how it goes. See how it goes. But yeah, I needed this to be out there. Because this thing affecting my friend, was made me realize this was bigger than me. This was like a bigger issue than me. I think I have another version that kind of talks about the situation more. So let me go over things. Gaslight to me, I was breaking. Yeah, okay. No, I've covered most of it. I mean, I can just go over the situation. So if anyone's wondering about like the whole really bad mental health crisis because of the landlord thing, so I literally went into psychosis because of that. And that episode of psychosis led me to believing some obviously untrue things, which I realize are untrue now, about some friends I had at the time. I genuinely believed that they had like secret group chats where they would like talk shit about me. And the thing is, like, so you know how like some friend groups, right? You know, like some friend groups, they take like you do little jabs at each other, right? You have little jabs, you have little jokes here and there. You talk shit about each other, uh, and you kind of like bully each other, right? But it's all in good fun. But I was like not mentally stable enough for that. I wasn't in the right place for that, and then it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them for that. That's not their fault, that I wasn't there. But it basically became like justification. Every little remark became more justification for my delusional little brain to be like, oh, that's proof. Healing is a journey. Most of you are afraid to start what you're doing. You are doing great by even starting. Thank you, Omega. And that is very true. You're based as fuck for saying that. Healing is hard as shit. It really is. Because, like the person that I've been talking about in this thing, in this experience, is, constructing narratives where you are like the perpetual victim that has always been wronged. Those are easier than healing. And I know it seems kind of ironic, right? Because like, here I am giving my testimony where I'm basically like, I was the victim. But the only reason I'm able to say that now, like I feel like I realized I was a victim, was because I spent more than enough time blaming myself. I was holding myself responsible for things I didn't do and I wasn't responsible for. So I've atoned, or I've unfairly mistreated myself because of the lies of other people, and having someone else that helped confirm that it wasn't me, made me feel more comfortable in being able to talk about this stuff. So yeah, what was I saying? Where was I? About, yeah. So I was having like a little psychosis moment, and basically what happened was, this friend group that I was part of, they had said something, and that was it. It was the last straw for me. That was like the last psychological straw for me, and I kind of just snapped. I just broke, and to protect myself, I went into like full blown crisis mode. And sorry, just looking for a part panel. B. And anyone that's had mental health problems, especially ones that involve like delusions or disassociation or detachments from reality, knows how freaking. Oh, hi, Sidra. Hello, Sidra. Hello. Welcome in. How you doing? Welcome in. It's good to see you. How you been? How you doing? I'll just talk about stuff. But yeah, anyone who's been through that stuff knows how fucking, like, how real it feels. How real that stuff feels. You know? Because the thing is, like, in that moment, it is real to you. Like, your emotions are real. The feelings you're feeling are real. And someone who says that they care about you and claims that they care about you wouldn't be gaslighting you. I mean, it's like a clinical recommendation. Part of the clinical treatment is that you don't tell someone who is going through psychosis that they're being delusional. You have to work to try and understand what they're feeling by asking them questions, asking them, being empathetic, reaching out, not calling them delusional, not calling them a baby, not trying to tell them they're overreacting or minimizing them or invalidating their feelings, right? That's not what you do to someone who's struggling. You don't treat them like they're a problem. You don't tell them. You don't start to guilt trip them and tell them how difficult it is for them to handle you going through mental health crisis. You know, like who says that to people? You know, like you're going through a crisis in a certain time. Like you're going through a crisis in your life where you're detached from reality, and you have one person you thought you could trust that was the safe person. Because I essentially cut off everyone. I kicked everyone from this. Well, not everyone, but like I kicked the group from the server that we were sharing because I didn't feel safe with them there, right? And I kept this one person who I thought would be safe. And instead of them being safe, instead of them proving that they were the safe person for me, they basically ended up proving that they were not safe. Completely proving that they were not safe. And then by the time it got... Sorry, let's have a look. Just experienced depression, very bad depression. I'm sorry to hear that, Sidra. Is it... Or Kura? Am I saying that right? Am I pronouncing that right? I apologize if I'm not. But yeah, you get it. You get it. Like, when I say psychosis, guys, I mean fucking, like, psychosis. Not like I was a little bit loopy or a little bit silly. Like, I was hearing voices. I would hear this babbling talking, like people talking in gibberish. But like, sorry, I get like chills when I think about it. But like occasionally there'd be words here and there that would make sense. And one of the continuous themes was your friends talking about you behind your back. They don't like you. They're plotting against you. They're making fun of you. And I was like, not just auditory hallucinations, I was having visual hallucinations. One of the most terrifying ones I had was basically, there we go, etching stickers. One of the most terrifying ones I had was, I fucking hate talking about this one, but I think it's important to mention. I used to see this black shadow figure that would appear at the top of my door frame. So like, imagine your door frame, right? And the door's open, and it would appear in the like top left-hand corner, and it would peek out from the very top, just until you see the bottom of the shoulders, like from like, if you can see my mouse. No, you can't. Like just just from the underneath where my shoulders are, and it would peek up. And it would just stare at me. There were no eyes or anything. It was just this black silhouette. And it would stare at me. And that scared the fuck out of me. That scared the absolute fuck out of me. And it would like, I'd just basically like hide under my bed. Under my bed kit, my sheets until like it, yeah. Until that shit went away. And I would hear I'd hear knocking at my door. Because my landlord was like threatening to turn up at my house, I was afraid of people turning up at my house. And what made it worse, right? What made it worse is the landlord did actually turn up at my house unannounced. So that pushed me further. So I was like hearing people that weren't actually there knocking at my door. So I'd go downstairs, I'd hear like loud knocking at the door, and I'd go downstairs, no one there. I'd look on my CCTV, there's no one there. You know, it was, yeah. Oh, hold on, I'm very open about my schizoaffective disorder. I 1000% understand the absolute disorientating horror of psychosis, and I'm sorry sorry you and anyone else has had to experience that shit. Yeah, I feel the same. I'm sorry you had to go through that as well, Cyber. It is. I wouldn't wish this shit on my worst enemy. Honestly, it's bad, man. It's not good. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I mean, maybe someone like Hitler. Maybe I'd wish it on Hitler. Maybe Netanyahu. But yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, I was going through the worst of it. Yeah. True, Jay. So true. True and based. watermelon pilled. I appreciate your kind words, Jay. Thank you. So like, yeah, I'm going through this shit, bro. Like, I'm going through it. I'm going through it, man. And during that time, I was difficult, man. Like, it was like, I can imagine, right? I can imagine how difficult it would have been to like deal with a friend who wasn't really stable, and every now and then they would like, not every now, but they would like constantly talk about kind of just disappearing and erasing myself and going away and never coming back, right? But I feel like a friend who genuinely cares about you, genuinely cares about you, would have seen that as like a problem, like would have seen it as a red flag, right? Maybe I'm just being biased, you know, like, because it's my experience, and I've got the hindsight of 2020 now. But if I had a friend who was like constantly talking about like nuking themselves, like not like unaliving themselves, but like talking about how they want to get rid of their identity online, like, or something that they've built, something that they've built and they've worked so hard on, it would make me go, what the hell? Like, are you okay? What's wrong? Like, why do you want to do this? I wouldn't treat every interaction as like a nuisance, even if I was going through my own shit. And I get it. I get that people have their own stuff going on, right? But you expect even like basic empathy. If someone told me that, it would trigger all the alarms for me. Yeah, exactly. Like, you'd think like, hey, you get some basic empathy, at least. But like, I didn't even get that. I didn't even get any basic empathy. I just got literally guilted into like being told, well, do I realize how difficult it is for them to have to deal with me having mental health problems? So yeah, it was pretty bad, man. And yeah, so like during this whole thing, we were talking about stuff, and instead of listening to me, instead of hearing what I had to say, they were like minimizing it. They were minimizing it, telling me that I was being ridiculous, telling me that I was being delusional, like guilt tripping me, and saying like, oh, but look what all these friends do for you, you know? Like, look what these friends do for you. You like, you should feel grateful. And then they're like using their own comparison of how like their own friends were not supportive or not doing things like getting stuff for me, instead of listening to me about what I was dealing with, you know? So yeah, it was a rough experience, man. And then the worst part, right? So after all of that went, like, I realized what had happened, right? The people that I was feeling most delusional ended up being the ones who helped me out of it. Because after that person had treated me poorly, shit, I almost said their name. After that person had treated me poorly, I like isolated myself for like 3 weeks solid. And the people that I was delusional about, like, that I believed were plotting against me, were the ones that like pulled me out of it. And I'm really thankful. I'm still like, even if I don't talk to them today, I'm still thankful for the fact that they had like that empathy for me to like care enough, you know, to reach out. Okay, cool. So we've got the head and we've got the torso done. Oh, look at that. Nice. See those metal pieces? They're like actual metal pieces. That's actual metal. I'm glad other people did it. Me too. Me too, man. Because I don't think I would have made it out if it wasn't for that. I'll tell you that for a fact. I'll tell you that for sure. I'll tell you that for true. Hold on. I gotta adjust my thingy. Alright, cool. Yeah. I do apologize, sorry, guys, if I've like killed the mood, killed the vibe. Right, let's get back to some good music. Let's get back to some good music. Let's get back to some good music. What have we got here? I did, yeah, that is true. I did literally prep everyone. I did prepare everyone. So I did warn everyone at the beginning of the stream and partway through. So everyone did have, well, apart from the people that, who have just joined us. Yes, I apologize. You now have my trauma. You now get to experience my trauma. You're welcome. You're welcome, by the way. Yeah, I had to stand up for my friend, though. You know, I also had to stand up for my friend. That's why I shared their story. I had full permission, just to be clear. I had full permission from my friend to tell their story on their behalf because they're still kind of afraid of this person. They're like afraid of the fallout, afraid of the consequences, and the fact that afraid that this person might try to use their own life circumstances as leverage against them to delegitimize them or slander them. So, hey, they've already talked enough shit about me. If they want to continue talking shit about me, go ahead. Go ahead. It just only gives me more proof that I was right. You know? Right, let's have a look. We want 25. 25? Wait, is there an F2? Oh, this is a Metalocalypse. Have you guys ever watched Metalocalypse? It's Deathclock, I mean. Deathclock from Metalocalypse. Oh, there's F2. If you've not watched Metalocalypse and you're a metal fan, it's so good. Go watch it. It's funny as shit as well. Warning though, it is very, very, it's very gory, terribly gory. Also, I appreciate you guys like sharing your own stories with me. By the way, if you're not already, please join my Discord server. Feel free to join it! !Discord. So the reason I talk about this stuff as well is not just like, it's not also about like, hey, like this sense of justice, is this sense of vindication or need for revenge or anything. It's because like I am on a journey. Thanks, Jay. I'm on a journey, man. I'm on a journey of healing, self-rediscovery, man. Self-rediscovery. All this gunpla stuff you see is stuff I used to do as a kid, and it made me happy. But because of the career path that I was pushed down by my parents, kind of didn't have any time for this because I was so busy in education. But now I'm medically retired because I've got MS. I don't work. So I'm like rediscovering all this stuff about myself. And I love building Gunpla. I love collecting Pokemon cards and doing all this. But then I'm also like sharing my truth. It's like this community, this channel, yeah, this community I'm building, I want to build it around like genuine openness, growth, self-improvement, self-betterment, and self-rediscovery, you know. And here's another point I like to bring is like we have an anti-cringe culture here. And what I mean by that is like you know, that does everyone know about cringe culture? Like people where it's literally just people making fun of people for enjoying things that they enjoy. Like using cringe for like anything other than talking about what if you are cringe, embrace it. Good, that's it. That's the point. If you are cringe, be cringe. Embrace the cringe. But if people are like, oh, that's cringe because you are cringe, like if you're a turbo weeb, if you're a VTuber, if you're gay, you're queer, you use neo pronouns, I don't know, you're an otherkin. I don't care what people think. You embrace that shit. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone, doesn't harm anyone, you know, directly or indirectly, we embrace that shit. Because someone fucking deserves that, right? It's the new version. It's basically just, it's the new version of shitting on people. Yeah, it's literally the new version of just shitting on people. And usually it targets neurodivergent communities, neurodivergent people. You know, we end up being the ones that like face the brunt of it because we're usually different, you know? So yeah, my community's, you know, all about that openness, that self love. Hi. Yeah. That self love. That cringe. To be cringe is to be free.
Seek fluid intake.
Thank you. Thank you for the care package, including the fart. I want to listen to As I Am again. That was such a tune. I thought it was going crazy. I heard like paper. It was the song. It was the song. Oh. Yeah, tell me about it. The range of subjects I learned to dodge at work is expanding very rapidly. Well, if you be my community, that you can have that outlet. You know that you feel like at the end of the day you're gonna pop because you haven't been able to get my cringe out. Please. You can get out in my community. Be cringe. But yeah, it's not just about embracing cringe as well. It's also like about embracing like healing and about healing and finding the strength to heal and to be open to it. Being open and honest about it. Excuse me. Burping. All right, so we want B. Oh yeah, also, like a sudden side note, the person that I was talking about earlier as well, is attempting to go through a sort of a rebrand, I guess. And I think that's why at this moment, it was so important to talk about it, because that rebrand would allow them to get away scot-free, to walk away from their identity, or to walk away from their past or the consequences of their past without any consequences. Yeah.